Hey, this is Tyler with Turf Tech, and today we're going to be going over the differences and similarities between our dedicated use 1304 edger and our multi-use 1305 edger. So I'm here with our Model 1304 edger and our Model 1305 multi-use edger. Both of these machines are based on the same Schedule 40 high-quality welded solid tube frame. They both also feature our Tough Torque hydrostatic K62 transmission, and they both have the same engine options. Side by side, these two machines share 90% of the same components, so no matter which machine you go with, you're getting a high-quality piece of equipment that's meant to last decades instead of years. So we just talked about some of the similarities between these two edgers, and let's get into some of the differences as well. One of the main differences between these two machines is what blades you can operate on each one of them. On the Model 1304 dedicated use, you can run our trenching blades, our 16T bed opener blade, and also our T4 brick mold blade. Now, the Model 1305 can run our entire line of blades, meaning that it can also, in addition to those trenching and edging blades, it can also run our bed grooming blade and our sidewalk edging blade. The big difference between the Model 1304 and the Model 1305 is that the 1304 dedicated use machine can only ever be an edger. So it can run our different trenching blades, it can run our edging blade, but it cannot swap out to any of our different attachments. So the real question you need to ask yourself is, are you interested in any of our other attachments, such as the power broom, the power rake, the brush cutter? If you are interested in those other attachments, you'd want to go with the 1305 multi-use machine, because that allows you not only to run all the edging blades, but it also gives you the option further down the road to put on a power broom or put on a power rake, giving you the flexibility further down the road. So all in all, whether you go with the Model 1304 or a 1305 really comes down to what you need the machine to do. If you're just looking for an edger, if you're looking to replace that pull backwards machine and you want to be walking forward self-propelled, you can go with the 1304 model. If you're looking for a machine that has more capability, if you want to get into different attachments while also having the edger available, go with a multi-use. Either way, you can't go wrong. All right, so let's take a look at the Model 1304 dedicated use machine. Now, the dedicated use machine is a little bit less expensive than our multi-use platform, and the reason for the reduced cost of the machine is that the drivetrain is a little bit simpler than our multi-use machine. So instead of having a clutch like our multi-use has, the dedicated use machine has a slipper belt design. It's a little bit more simple, and that saves you money up front. So let's take the belt cover off and have a look at what's underneath this machine. So as I talked about before, the Model 1304 and the Model 1305 are relatively the same machine in terms of the tractor construction. The main frame is exactly the same between the two machines. The transmission's the same. The real difference comes in the subframe. The subframe construction of the 1304, while being the same high quality, thick steel that we use on our multi-use machine, the dedicated use machine has a simpler subframe. And so that saves you money on the purchase price of each machine. It's not necessarily that it's a cheapened version of the 1305, rather it's just simpler. Another big difference between the Model 1304 and 1305 is in the drive system. So the Model 1304 drive system is a slipper belt construction. So you can see we have an idler underneath here that pulls tight, and that is what actually engages the blade out on the edger arm. Now with a slipper belt design, you have to replace the belt a bit more frequently. Typically we see about once a season, once a year with most landscapers, but it's very easy to replace. You can see that belt is just easy to pull off of there and easy to maintain. So the one thing that we want to make very clear to everyone who's considering a Model 1304 is that the Model 1304, while it runs our most popular blade being our 16T bed opening blade, it is limited in the different blades that you can run. The 1304 model will be able to run our bed opening blade, it'll be able to run our trenching blades, and also our T4 brick mold blade. But it does not have the ability to run the grooming blade and the sidewalk edging blade. So you need to keep that in mind when you're thinking about which model to purchase. So now that we've covered the features of the Model 1304 dedicated use edger, let's go to the Model 1305 and talk about the differences there. So the 1305, again, shares a lot of similarities with the 1304 dedicated use machine. Now, where the differences come in is in the subframe of the machine, like we've mentioned before. Now, we'll take this belt cover off, and let's take a look at what's underneath here that makes the multi-use machine different. So what having a mechanical drive clutch means is that we have a longer service life on this main drive belt. This BB62 drive belt, what we typically see with our customers who have the multi-use setup is that they only have to replace this drive belt once every typically 3 seasons. So you get a longer service life out of this drive belt as opposed to the dedicated use where you're replacing the belt once a year. This belt's a little bit more complicated to replace, but also you're doing it a lot less. So the reason that the multi-use machine has all these extra pulleys in here as compared to the dedicated use machine is that it allows you to reroute the belt, changing the direction of rotation of the blade. And where that's important is in the grooming blade and the sidewalk edging blade. So all of the trenching blades are going to be rotating against the direction of travel. So they're going to be rotating backwards. But when we're talking about the grooming blade and the sidewalk edging blade, it's important that we're able to change the direction of rotation of the blade. We do that by rerouting this belt, including this pulley, wrapping it around a different way, and that allows us to effectively change the direction of rotation of the blade. So one of the other key differences that you'll notice in the 1305 multi-use tractor is down underneath with this gold plate. And this plate is involved in the pivoting mechanism of the tractor. Now, where that's important for the edger is not necessarily in the 16T bed opening blade, it's in the grooming blade. The grooming blade requires you to pivot the arm out at a bit of an angle, up to about 15 to 20 degrees, and that is critical for that machine or that edger because it allows you to cut and roll the sod. And in other attachment applications, it also allows you to pivot the head of the machine. So like in the power broom or the power rake or even the plow, it allows you to angle left and right with the attachment. So the one other thing that I wanted to mention about this machine is what blades are compatible with it. As we talked about with the 1304 machine, you have your trenching blades for the 1305, you have your 16T edging blade, you have your T4 brick mold blade. But what makes the 1305 unique is that you can also run the bed grooming blade and the sidewalk edging blade on this machine. So as we've seen with the Model 1304 and 1305, there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences in the subframe as well. But at the core of the machine, whether you choose the 1304 or the 1305, you can rest assured that you're getting a very high quality commercial grade piece of equipment. So if you have any questions about either one of our edging machines or about any of our other attachment offerings, please feel free to give us a call. We're always happy to walk through the particular needs of your business and make equipment recommendations based on that. So again, I'm Tyler with Turf Tech. Thanks for watching and have a great day.